Step 5 in the selling process is the appraisal. Now, most of the time, the appraisal only comes into play assuming the buyer is obtaining a loan. The lender, the bank, or whomever the buyer is borrowing money from, well, they want to make sure that the asset or the property supports the value that they're trying to buy it for. An appraisal is simply a third-party valuation. An appraisal inspection is done by a licensed appraiser, and even though this person is hired by the bank, they're neutral to both parties. So they don't have an allegiance, they don't favor one or the other, and they basically go off of the market data and the other supplemental information that we provide for them. There are a few things that you can expect from the appraisal inspection, and it's a little bit different than the general home inspection in which the buyers come and there's a bunch of inspectors that come along with them. For the appraisal inspection, the appraiser comes by themselves, and it's typical that the buyers aren't there, so you can actually remain in your home at this time. The inspection typically lasts anywhere from 30 to 60 minutes, and the appraiser is going to go around and measure some of the bedrooms, measure the exterior of the property, and he or she will need access to the crawl space, to the attic, and some of the same areas that the general home inspector would. Now, to prepare for the appraisal inspection, there's kind of two things, and we work in unison with you. On our end, the BWG Realty Group, we put together a report that we give to the appraiser. This includes things like the market sales data or the comparable sales. It includes improvements and features of the property. If we had multiple offers, we want to include those, and any information that we know about the property that will help to support the value of the purchase price. From your perspective, what we ask is, listen, we want to present your home in the best version of itself. So similar to being open house ready, we want the house to look great, remove personal items and clutter, keep things clean and well maintained, and also make sure that the appraiser has access to all the areas that we mentioned he or she may need to get to. Now, in a perfect world, on the front end, before we ever accept an offer, we'll have a discussion with you if we think that there's a concern with the property not appraising at the purchase price. Now, remember, the goal of the appraisal is that the appraised value is equal to or ideally greater than whatever the purchase price value is. We run into some issues if the appraisal value is low in terms of some of the lender requirements. So hopefully we've done our homework and we are ahead of it in terms of understanding whether there could be a concern with the property not appraising at the purchase price. If it turns out that the appraised value comes in below the purchase price, well, there are three possible outcomes and things to consider. Let's just say in a scenario, if you've got $1 million property and the property appraises at $900,000. So what we're talking about is a gap of 100 grand. Scenario one is that you as the seller would reduce the purchase price down to the appraised value. Scenario two is that the buyer actually comes up with the difference. They increase the amount of money they bring to closing, meeting the purchase price value, even though it's different from the appraised value. And the third, and frankly what's the most common, is where the seller reduces the price a little bit, the buyers come up with more money a little bit, and basically meet in the middle in some sort of a compromise. Now again, a property not appraising at value isn't terribly common, and it's something that we can discuss in advance, but I just want to make sure that you understand all the moving parts before we go into this. Because we as your agents pride ourselves on really being on top of our game, if we think that there's a possibility that the property won't appraise at the purchase price that the buyers are offering, we will have a conversation about that in advance. It's highly unlikely that just out of the blue the appraisal will come in low, but it is something that does happen from time to time, so we do want to make you aware. The short story here is that we're fully in your corner, using market data and doing everything we can to ensure that your property will appraise at the purchase price. All the more reason that you should feel confident that you hired the BWG Realty Group. And again, this is step 5, the appraisal process.